But those look like guns where it's like unregistered, and then like every bullet is 5 years or whatever it is.
Right. I try to think about where we are in the industry, because I feel like we're in a weird spot, because like we are, Barstool Sports is a big deal. This podcast is big. It's been around for a while. It's successful. But I also still feel like we're like commenting on the industry and not necessarily like in it. Do you know what I mean? Like
I don't know what you mean.
Like when we talk about we talk about stand-up comics a lot, and we're not stand-up comedians, but technically,
I thought we were starting with a different topic. I was very lost. Okay.
I'm saying, like, when we talk about other comics, I'm still thinking of it as like I'm a fan who does a podcast, and we'll talk about, I liked this one, I didn't like this one, did you hear that joke? It was funny, whatever. And technically we're all kind of podcasters and we're all like contemporaries in a way, but I still think of us as like we're observing the rest of the industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And not like in it.
100%.
But then I also admit, like, I also understand that we are in it, and I try to compare us to other people and other lifestyles.
I think you do that too much.
I know I do for sure. Not always necessarily even in a bad way though. Not comparing like I wish I was these guys, but it's just like I feel like I live a very different life than all the people who are also doing podcasts and work in like the media industry.
I'd say so.
Right? Well, yeah. So like, I mean,
no, I disagree with that. Not in the media industry. I think podcast, yes, but like, I think like you live a life like a
normal life,
like a normal life, like
right.
Not like. Are we talking about Logan Paul right now? Or
yes.
Jake Paul? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know who we were talking about.
Yeah.
You said you were going with comedians, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, like comedians, vloggers, podcasters, even like other bloggers and shit. Like, I mean, I feel like, and I'm a dad, and I go home, I take care of my kids, I do the work, and that's it. Whereas comics are on the road, vloggers are on private jets, like all this shit. And the point being, roundabout way here, is never a better example than Jake Paul's house being raided and them walking out with a goddamn artillery. Like I never would compare myself to the Paul brothers, because I'm like they've been in mansions and they've been rich since they were like born, and porn stars and private jets and parties and celebrity boxing and all that. But watching the feds who raided Jake Paul's house walk out with sniper rifles and machine guns, I'm just like, dude, I have a broken dryer at home that I keep calling my landlord about. That's like the excitement of my life.
And a broken TV.
And a broken TV. Can we fix my busted up apartment, please? And and they're like, raiding his Calabasas mansion, walking out with a full like wall of weapons. I mean, what the fuck is going on at Jake Paul's house?
I didn't know you could get raided for having a party.
Well, that's what he's been having COVID parties basically, and like flaunting it in the face of the mayor and the police. Like his quote was so dickhead. He was just kind of like, our leadership is failing us. Nobody knows what's going on, so I'm going to continue living my life. It's like, okay, man. Like, we don't have to make this like political, dude. You're just throwing parties at a time where we're asking people not to get together.
Especially in LA, right? LA was like, did they like have to come all the way back to stage?
Yeah, they're like relocking down.
Whatever?
Yeah,
that's probably not. Like, I think someone said there were people swinging from like heavy machinery.
I can definitely see. It's not like when Jake Paul has a party, it's not like, hey, let's get together and we're sipping wine, or like, oh, let's play some beer pong. It's like, a rager. Clearly with fucking sniper rifles.
What do they call it? Redneck, I forget. It's like some kind of it's like a redneck,
like a hillbilly version of, yeah.
And it's just like a fucking, I don't know anything about manual labor. Like, I'm trying to think of a name for it.
You're on like the backhoe, and you're swinging it around. Yes.
Like, that's exactly what I picture there.
I picture
probably firing guns in the air.
I picture Project X. Mm-hmm. There was just like, the car ended up in the pool. There's an elephant over there. Everyone's naked, drugs, craziness. And so I would imagine, as we record this right now, Wednesday afternoon, there's really no details. But
I'm gonna check real quick,
I would bet this is like this dude is being defiant about our rules and our laws and law enforcement. So we're gonna find like a reason to get a search warrant, like some.
But that seems
like a ticky-tack thing. You know, you're putting an extension on your house and you don't have the right permit, so like we can come on the property, or you know, something crazy like that where all it takes is one person at the party to make some sort of complaint, and it's like, well, we have to check what's going on in there, and next thing you know, they're probably like, jackpot. And you know what I bet it was? I bet someone was at the party and rumors were swirling that like, yo, I was at Jake Paul's party and there was a fucking machine gun sitting there in the living room, and then they have some sort of probable cause or some shit like that.
Yeah, I guess, but even that, like, you can own guns,
right?
Like guns are legal.
Yeah,
the affidavit. The search warrant is sealed, so therefore prohibited from commenting on the nature of the investigation.
So
like,
but I mean, and maybe those are all legal.
I feel like there are some things when like the police raid your house. I don't know, they could be fucking up, but like the feds don't fuck up.
Oh, like the police would be there without the probable cause.
Right, like the FBI doesn't
Usually,
fuck up really.
The feds, it always says like, if they arrest you and bring a case against you, like they have like a 99% rate.
Yeah.
I remember that with Craig Carton, where it was like they waited and they waited and they waited, and if they're putting him in cuffs and taking him away, it's a wrap.
It was like a Paul Manafort thing too. Like if the feds are knocking on your door at 6 a.m., there's a reason. Yeah.
Now, so I wonder. I mean, it would be the Paul brothers. The Paul brothers are in like a weird spot because I feel like they were kind of the Paul brothers, and now I think there's Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and they're obviously always going to be connected, and they do content together, but really not as often as you would like. I think if they were like on the same page, they would have Impulsive would probably be both of them, you know. So I mean,
and I don't know, Logan would be with him when he was looting Arizona malls.
Yeah, they're very separate. They promote each other and shit, but I mean, I think Logan. I am a proud member of Team Maverick or whatever. I love Logan Paul. I think he's like does good content, and I think despite being like wildly successful at such a young age, he actually does have like some perspective and some like if you listen to his show, he has some advice and some thoughts that are like well beyond just like I'm a YouTube millionaire. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and I mean more. Who knows?
In our interactions with him, I don't really listen to his show or anything like that, but in our interactions with him, I've had nothing but good things to say about him.
Right, and Jake, I think, and I think because Logan went through the fire. He had the Suicide Forest thing where he got basically canceled and needed to like apologize. And I mean, I personally I think that was shocking, but I don't think it was like that fucking.
Yeah, he didn't kill the person.
That's what I mean. It was like it's a little distasteful, but I think people
they
wanted
would blur it
to
out
cancel
too,
him.
right?
Yeah. And I mean, he went to a place that's like, that's. They do a vlog where it's like we're gonna go to crazy places and like documenting where we are. It happens to be this place that's where suicide happens, and sure it was like distasteful, but I think people wanted to cancel Logan Paul because he's a rich, white, good-looking millionaire, and so they found a way. So he learned from that, and whether or not he really like actually is sorry, he learned how to apologize, and a reclamation project where he came back. Jake hasn't done that. Jake hasn't really had to do it. He's Logan had a problem where he hit like rock bottom. Jake's just been right above rock bottom the whole time, so he hasn't felt the need to really change his ways or apologize or whatever. And so he's still living that life that I think most people are like, you're pissing me off. This bothers me that, you throw these parties and live this way. But I don't know if those guns are like illegal or something. I think that's gonna be a problem. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think this is pure speculation, but those look like guns where it's like unregistered and then like every bullet is 5 years or whatever it is.
Right.
I've seen that in movies as cops like
they're going to jail for 500 years.
10, 15, 20.
Yeah. I mean,
that is the extent of my knowledge about the Second Amendment.
Bullets put you in jail. I feel like wherever you stand with guns, I think we probably can all agree that maybe not, I don't know, but I think most of us could agree that you don't really need a sniper rifle.
See, I actually disagree with that.
You think a sniper rifle is reasonable to have?
I think that's the most fun one to shoot.
Okay. Well,
if you're like shooting in the backyard at targets, like that to me, I've never fired a gun, but that to me would be the most fun.
I think that's maybe the most fun, but I also think it's probably the most dangerous.
It's the most dangerous,
dude. If I have a handgun and I'm shooting at something 50 yards away, I can see like everything that's there. If I'm shooting a fucking sniper rifle that goes like 1,000 yards, you don't know who's within that 1,000-yard range.
I mean, you would hope you'd be able to see in the scope. I'm sure it's incredibly dangerous. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like I'm not gonna go buy a sniper rifle.
And I'm just like, all right, I'm firing this, and then all of a sudden some like kid on an ATV in the woods shoots by. It's like he didn't know that I was 1,000 yards away shooting a gun.
That's true.
I mean, it's
That's a fair
nuts.
point. It's a fair point.
And I mean, they had what looked like those. What are those shotguns called where the handle is almost like a pistol? Like it's not like, you know what I mean? Like it's like a long. I guess it's like a sawed-off where it's just like a long one, but it still just has like a regular handle and trigger. Those are cool.
It's one of those ones that like come with a belt.
Yeah. Those are fucking
like
cool.
Chris Hemsworth has one in Extraction where he's just kind of like swinging it up.
Yeah, I also feel like that's the main one where you cock it with the cock. You know what I mean? Cha-cha. Sure, Jake Paul can say, I do a vlog and I have wild and wacky shit, and here's my house, here's my this, here's my that, here's my gun collection. But I think it's all like, I mean, having an unregistered gun is like the number one, like, you dummy. You know what I mean? It's like speeding when you got drugs in the car. It's like, come on, this is day one shit, man. But I feel like those guys have been so smart about, you might think we're assholes, but we're not really breaking any laws. We're not hurting anybody. But in this case, I don't know. We'll wait to find out. I'm sure by the time you're listening to this, maybe more details have come out.